Toronto Argos think first and foremost about stopping Gil Fennerty, the CFL's leading rusher. For example, Fennerty's ex-teammate Tank Landry was thinking about him a week ago.
Hey, Gil, get ready, homeboy. Get ready next week, Gil. That's something for you too, baby.
Well, number one, Tank's a good linebacker and he does get around, but they got 11 other guys on that team, and Calgary's a good defense. I think one of the things we're going to have to do is run the ball against them. We amassed a lot of yards against them last year, so we don't go against the defense to play against one guy. We go against 12 guys, and Tank's going to be there. He's going to get his tackles, but we're going to be there also, and hopefully he won't get as many as usual.
And the Stampeders hope to hold Fennerty below his usual rushing yardage. It's the first part of a home-and-home series. The Toronto Argos and the Calgary Stampeders on CFN. Bilovich was seen. He was watching his first nightmare at the Sky Dome. Don Narcisse capped a late-game comeback, and Saskatchewan beat the Argos by 5. Larry Kuharich didn't like it a lot better when Tracy Ham got the Edmonton Eskimos rolling with the first of 4 second-half touchdowns as Edmonton beat Calgary. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. I'm Dave Hodge. A game that features the Argos, losers of 3 in a row, and the Calgary Stampeders, who added to their interprovincial frustration by losing back-to-back games to the Edmonton Eskimos. And all of that added to the importance of this game. In the East, the Toronto Argos have slipped 4 points back of both Winnipeg and Hamilton. And we shouldn't forget Ottawa now that the Riders have won a game. Meanwhile, in the West, the Stampeders are tied for second place, just 2 points ahead of BC. It looks as though Edmonton is out of reach. The Argos and the Stampeders have a rivalry that basically goes back to some trades made between these teams. There's players like Tank Landry and Lorenzo Graham in Calgary uniforms who used to be with the Argos. And, of course, there is Dan Ferroni with Neil Lumsden.
Dan, the first chance to get back at your old mates, it'd almost be like a scrimmage against that defense, won't it?
Well, except they're going to try to be knocking me down for some reason. I talked to them. I say, leave me alone. I'm a nice guy. Remember me from practice and everything. No, I'm excited about tonight. It's going to be my first chance to play my old friends from Toronto, and it's an important game for both of us. It's a gotta win for us, and it's pretty much a gotta win for them too. So we'll see what happens out there. We'll see who gets knocked down the most, and it'll probably be me because I'm a weebly wobbler.
Terrence Jones is getting a start at quarterback. Looked good last week against Edmonton. Is it something that you take into account when you go in the huddle, play in and play out? You got to work just that much harder to give him more time?
Well, he needs being the rookie or first year as far as him. As far as the experienced guys, he needs just that little step just to be able to read it that much quicker. You always, as offensive lineman, you always block the quarterback. You do the best job you can always, and Terrence has the ability to get away and make us look good sometimes. So it's good to have a guy like that in there, and hopefully he stays nice and calm and he does a good job.
Have fun tonight.
I will. Probably will.
The Argos have made several lineup changes for this game. Among the most prominent, the release of punter Hank Olisic, the acquisition of former Calgary punter Glenn Harper, who plays against his former Stampeder teammates tonight. It's Toronto and Calgary. It's McMahon Stadium on the Canadian Football Network. For the first of 2 games between these clubs, Lance Chomik's kickoff will be handled by Andre Alexander, who was off the roster and then right back on it for this game because of an injury to Butch Caston, who was supposed to line up in the slot. Alexander, the glowworm as he is called, is lit up again for this game, and Terrence Jones starts his second CFL game.
And we will probably see Jones run all the offenses like they tried to do last week in Edmonton. That tight with the tight end system. 3 receivers to one side, and what everyone is used to is the normal. 2 guys in the backfield, 2 receivers to either side.
Jones is a good runner, but you wouldn't prove that from last week's game at Edmonton. The Eskimos simply denied him the outside, and we'll see if the Argos can do the same. This time, though, Jones wants to throw it, and he put that one up for grabs. Let's check the weather. There is some wind that we might be talking about later in the evening, but otherwise, the weather should not affect this game. There you see the temperature and the fact that no rain has fallen, but the wind is blowing at a fair clip, and is known to increase as the evening goes on. 2nd down and 10 for Terrence Jones, who tried to hit Marshall Toner with his first down pass. Jones ran out of time, was on his feet a little longer than the Argos would wish, but that Toronto front four got to him. Harold Hallman, an ex-Stampeder. Neil, there's a lot of talk about the ex-Argos who are playing for Calgary, but we mustn't forget Hallman.
Well, I think that there's without question, when you go into a game like this, going against old teammates, you're fired up initially. But that goes away after a first couple of hits. What they're doing there, well, is coming from the outside in and not giving Jones a chance to run and show what kind of abilities he does have.
Argos came close to Brent Matich's putt. He's on the ground, but no flag will follow him. And there is little or no return as the Argos take the ball at the 40-yard line with Darrell Smith, the CFL's leading pass receiver, returning that punt. Well, one of the oddities this season, the Argo offense. And Bill Renfro will try to get it going tonight.
And it'll be tough. He's got some new receivers in the lineup. That, even though he's had a chance to practice, it's not game situation, so that can't be recreated. And I think the one thing he would like to do is just get into a good sequence of plays and start to feel comfortable. And there's one of the fellows he'll be throwing to the left, Bedford.
Brian Bedford from the San Diego Chargers and the University of California. Fennerty fumbles the first handoff. And a turnover immediately puts the Calgary Stampeders in great shape. And Fennerty couldn't have started worse.
Well, Howard Fields comes up with the ball on the big play early on, giving Calgary good field position. Watch the movement, just a straight handoff. Almost seemed like it hit him in the left hip. Bumped off, and once that ball gets on that turf, it's anybody's. And in this case, it's Calgary's.
Terrence Jones' running ability, made some yards on his own, still was looking to pitch out, but the back had forgotten about it and was watching Terrence Jones do the running. And that's what he couldn't do last week in Edmonton.
Well, I don't think
the Argos just about stopped him here.
Well, I don't think it's so much he forgot. The running back forgot. The running back was taken out by the defensive back. He goes to the outside. Jones takes his back up inside. Graham's taken out of the play. And he's on his own. Downfield, if you're going to run the option, you need your receivers to make blocks. Willis gets good position on Barry. First and back out. Bide some time.
Jones gives it to Graham this time. Short gain into the middle of that Toronto defense, and there's some pushing and shoving involving Rodney Harding. And the Stampeders are known for their aggressiveness, both on offense and defense. The Argos giving some of it back, and that's Dan Ferroni right in the middle of it.
Well, he said before the game there'd be some conversations, and not all that polite, I'm sure. You know, the talk simply is for one reason, I think, to get one of the others off their game plan. If you get them focusing on one player rather than what he's supposed to do, you can win the battle.
It's 2nd and 6 after Graham gained 4 over the middle, and Alexander has it, and there's a flag at the point at which Terrence Jones was taken down. A probable roughing call against Rodney Harding.
You back Toronto in, they're going to show you some pressure, and they did that. Richard Brothers, 25, is the starting safety. He's going to come from the right side of your screen. Terrence Jones is going to feel that pressure, steps in. Here he comes from the right side. That hit from 77 Harding is exactly what was called for. And the battle continues inside. Good position by Ferroni, has the hands on the either side. Can't do much better than that.
Completion plus the penalty sends the Stampeders to the 6-yard line. The handoff straight into the middle for 2 or 3 to Tim Petros. And Terrence Jones' ability to run makes his faking a good part of this Calgary rushing game. You can't assume that Jones doesn't have the ball, or you do so at your peril.
Anytime you can get an added dimension like Edmonton has, or the quarterbacks BC, when they can put that ball on their hip and run, it's that much tougher to cover.
This might be a time when Jones tries to do that. 3 yards from a touchdown. Now That's exactly right. Terrence Jones for the touchdown.
Terrence Jones from Tulane looks very comfortable. Fake to Petros. Now he's got to make a decision. Does he pitch? Little push to the ball to the outside to freeze Don Moen. All he needs is a defensive guy to sit still for that half a second. Cuts inside for his touchdown.
A predictable play it was, but stopping it isn't necessarily as easy. So the turnover creates a touchdown and puts the Stampeders on top. The Argos will get the ball again, and will try to hold on to it this time. Mark McLaughlin will be kicking off after Terrence Jones' 3-yard touchdown run.
Sure looks comfortable running that option, though, doesn't he? I don't know if you'd want to run it a lot, or if you're a coach, you don't want your quarterback to run that play a lot, because there comes a time when you run the option that someone's going to tee off as they should on the quarterback and have that responsibility to put him on his back. Nice change-up, though. Time to get someone up there and pin that ball down.
Well, the first trivial statistic of the night is that the ball has fallen off the tee 3 successive times now as Mark McLaughlin tries to kick it off.
Accordingly, with people who violate this rule, we also
Bob Bilovich is only concerned about the one time that it came out of Gil Fennerty's grasp.
Ushers and security of the Stampeders, thank you for your attention.
So with a hold, McLaughlin will get the kick down to Eric Hoskins. 2 slot backs are kick returners for the Argos, Hoskins and Darrell Smith. And Hoskins goes to the 37-yard line.
When you defend the option, as Terrence Jones ran quite effectively, you have to have one man on defense come up and hit and commit to hit the quarterback. The other guy's got to commit to the running back. Don Moen has the problem of playing both. The little push fake with the shoulder gets Moen to make that one step, and he glides into the end zone.
Gets another chance. Holds on to it this time, but doesn't go very far with it.
Gil Fennerty is a ball carrier.
Well, Toronto's looking for that consistency. They know they've got it in the running game, and I think they know that they can get their running game going. It would obviously help them set up and throw the ball, but Calgary's tough against the run. They come down in the backside and take away a lot of those gaps that Fennerty is used to hitting.
He hit for nothing more than a yard there. It is 2nd down 9. Argos with their 38. Renfro's first pass of the game. They'll have to wait. He runs, but not for enough yards, and the Argos must punt, and that means Glenn Harper comes on. I described the Argo offense as something of an oddity because the Argos own the leading rusher in the league, Fennerty, and the leading receiver, Darrell Smith, and yet the Argos are by far the lowest scoring team in the league, and that wouldn't appear to make much sense.
A lot of people can't figure it out. They've had the injury problems like an awful lot of people in the CFL, but I think it comes down to what Bob Bilovich said to us today. It's consistency. There hasn't been any.
Glenn Harper's first punt as an Argo will be returned by Andre Alexander. He's back in the days when you couldn't punt or block for punt returners. There were 8 Argos and 1 little Calgary Stampeder.
Well, the problem that the punt returner faces in that situation is when you go after the block, there's not a lot of help. I think Terrence Jones has to be confident, or far more than he was this time and last week against Edmonton. Second possession puts it in for a touchdown.
Three receivers to the left for the Stampeders. Graham, an ex-Argo, runs against the Toronto defense and lines up like this tonight. The front 4 is familiar, and Bob Bilovich says as a group is about 85% healthy. The linebackers, Bruce Holmes starting, but there's a newcomer ready to go in for him, Leroy Etienne from the National Football League. And the newcomer in the secondary to make 5 imports back, there's Richard Brothers from the Chicago Bears. And before that, the University of Arkansas. He was a 7th-round pick of the Bears, and there's the new Argo defensive back, Richard Brothers. Jones on the run. Harding chases him. Ball is not caught by Alexander, and Harding avoids the temptation to hit Jones again.
Alexander goes incomplete. It'll be third down, Stampeders.
Well, Jones gives you that ability to get out of the pocket and throw downfield. With that, though, you have to have receivers work and get open. Alexander did. Willis was open early.
You
Have to fire a gun off to get his attention. Clapping your hands won't do it.
Maddox had something of a close call the first time he punted. He got 42 yards out of it, but the Argos were far away from making sure he got nothing. And again, they come close, and this time get the block. Bayless couldn't get it, but Reggie Pleasant's on top of it, and it's a touchdown.
Well, it took a second to get a hold of it. Bayless had the shot, and Bayless also had the block straight up the middle. Matic was a little bit tight to the line of scrimmage. Not quite back 15 yards, low snap. Bayless comes right up the chute. Barely had to leave the ground. Now he's got to try to get a hold of it. Looks a lot easier than it is.
Well, the block was easier. Bayless didn't have any trouble with that. And again, you can see from the first time Maddox punted that it might happen the second time. Pleasant gets the touchdown.
Which workout tape was judged more effective than Jane Fonda and the rest? By a landslide, the Firm workout won the largest independent consumer poll ever launched. More than 2,000 users of the Firm compared it to all the other tapes they'd tried. An overwhelming 99% called the Firm the most effective. The National Fitness Press agrees. The closest thing to the perfect workout tape. Results are phenomenal. Men like it too. The ultimate in fitness videos. The all-new 60-minute workout uses inexpensive weights sold everywhere. A bonus 40 minutes of flawless fitness information shows you how to start light and work up to beautiful. Visible results within 10 workouts. Volume 2 of the Firm Aerobic Workout with Weights. Limited offer, save $10, $39.95 plus $3 shipping. Call now, 1-800-423-4400. Rated phenomenal results, 423-4400.
Short punt by Harper and the no yards penalty, and the Stampeders are only 18 yards away from where the Argos snapped it, and they're close to midfield beginning this drive. Graham will get to the 55 and beyond into the 50, about to the 47. It could be a first down. Lorenzo Graham, an ex-Argo, who has really helped this Calgary offense, lines up with Tim Petros in the backfield.
10 yards, very close.
The receivers, 3 of them from Fresno State, plus Marshall Toner. And up front, a very experienced offensive line, anchored by 36-year-old Lloyd Fairbanks. It was a first down for Graham. He'll get it again. Almost broke into the clear. Bobrovich feared a Calgary running game simply because Saskatchewan proved that the Argos could be run against last week.
Something Coach Gerhardt said they tried to do early, and with a guy like Graham, who has added, as you said, very solid offensive dimension, both as a running back and coming out of the backfield as a receiver.
You are a winner. You can claim your prize.
The Argos probably fortunate to limit that gain to 3 yards at 2nd and 7 from the Toronto 44. Jones threw a bullet, and it was caught, or was it caught? There is a flag down. It was not caught. Well, what about the penalty?
Willis, the intended receiver. There is a flag on the play.
Roughing the passer, Toronto 68, first down.
Well, the first time it was Rodney Harding, and this time Glenn Kulka for roughing Terrence Jones.
Kulka trying to make a case right there. Goes to the inside, gets his position on Ferroni, and the shot to the face. I think that's what he's called for. You're not allowed to deliver a blow anywhere to the head, whether it's tackling or trying to get a sack.
29-yard line of the Argos, first down. Jones faked the run. Now he's going to do that. Good moves by the rookie.
Well, the Stampeders in that offensive formation have showed us 3 or 4 different things that Terrence Jones has been able to show the defense. Same type of thing as the option, fake to Petros. This could turn into an option, but it turns into almost like a semi-roll. You've got a back to his left, man downfield. Defense has to sit tight for a second. Jones ends up taking it downfield for a short gain.
Well, he got 5 yards. He ran about 45 to get it. Graham looking for 5 more, and on second effort, it looks as though he might have it.
Well, that's what will get him that first down if he does, Dave, that second effort of hitting in there and allowing the defensive players only to hit his upper body, his head and his shoulders. He can come off that type of tackle if no one wraps him up.
Stampeders in conjunction with Kentucky Fried Chicken, KISS 11:40 a.m.
They've got it at the 19-yard line of the Argos. Calgary trying to break a 7-7 tie. And there's not much doubt that the Stampeders have had the better part of the offense in this game. The Argos are on the board because of a blocked punt. Jones in the general direction of Marshall Toner, but that ball couldn't have been caught by a Stampeder. And the Argos weren't close enough to it either.
Sometimes a quarterback like Terrence Jones, who hasn't had the benefit of going through training camp, might not be as accustomed to throwing the ball before a receiver breaks. Oftentimes they want to wait till they see the man open and then throw the ball in there, where in many cases the ball should be thrown before the receiver makes the cut to give the receiver that advantage on the defensive back. That comes in time.
Jones is all alone in that backfield. 3 receivers both ways. He's going to try to run. Boy, broke 2 tackles. Still doesn't have the first down, but apparently hard to bring down is Terrence Jones.
Ever got in a pinch, they could put him at tailback. I don't know if he'd want to do it, but
that play, I think, is designed because of the way the receivers are spread to go straight up the middle. But Jones didn't see a hole, and he had to go outside himself.
Well, the defensive linemen are taking the blocks on and not picking a side, which takes that gap away. So Jones, if he escapes, has to escape to the outside. Kulka has a shot, good hustle from the backside, and finally, Brazeley and Holmes brings him down.
But not easily for them. No. 2 of them. Kulka missed him. Now McLaughlin will try a 20-yard field goal to put the Stampeders back in front. It's good, and it's a 3-point Calgary lead in the final minute of the opening quarter.
Another tie-it-down football for the Calgary High School football program. 56 seconds remaining. Quarter number 1. It's Calgary.
Stay with us at halftime for a close-up look at Calgary's Ken Ford, just your average linebacker named Hollywood.
By playing linebacker, you know, you have to have a loose screw up there. And I knew I got a loose screw somewhere, but you know, until I find it, I'm always going to be wild and crazy.
Neil, at lunch today, I asked you if you came back in a different position, which one
in another life, Dave?
Which one would you like to play? And you told me linebacker. And after hearing Ken Ford today, I understand completely.
I've known a lot of linebackers, both personally and away from the game, and they don't all have to have a screw loose, but they do have to have that one quality that makes them a little bit different. Might be a haircut.
McLaughlin forces Hoskins to back up and make sure he's got the ball. Flag down. Hoskins returned to the 35, but probably the Argos are going to have to back up, and penalties, among other things, have hurt the Argos in this opening quarter.
Back to the 35-yard line. Nate McCrary on the tackle. There is a flag.
Penalty, a rough start for him. Warren Hudson is back there, too, primarily to block. Brian Bedford, the new wide receiver, and Eric Hoskins getting another start at the slot in Emmanuel Tolbert's place. Bedford, of course, playing for the injured Jeff Boyd. There's the offensive line. Chris Schultz, the supposed star of that front unit for the Argos. Penalty, not any room to go anywhere here.
Well, the Calgary scheme of things right now, where they're dressing 5 defensive linemen and all pretty good ones, they could have afford the luxury of rotating people in. Right now, Kent Warnock, who we're looking at, is taking Gene Beliveau's spot at that tackle. So Fleming's still in the end. Jarvis is still at the other end. That's going to keep people fresh. It worked for Saskatchewan last year.
Well, it's not bad when you can bring your leading sacker off the bench. And in fact, the second leading sacker in the league, Kent Warnock. And throw on second down. Swings it to Hudson. He's going nowhere. Ken Ford in on that play. And the Calgary defense congratulates itself, and the Argos must punt as the first quarter ends. The Argos will punt as the second quarter begins. Toronto's memory of Tank Landry is that the Argos couldn't find him, but he's telling everybody that he's not AWOL on this 15th day of the 9th month in a Calgary Stampeder uniform against the Argos. And he'll be fined for that paraphernalia, but Tank Landry doesn't seem to mind paying for his eccentricities. The CFL doesn't quite allow such messages in advertising.
Well, with the shirt being out and a lot of other things, he might be playing for nothing.
About 5 yards. First down, Stampeders at their own 49.
The second quarter begins with Terrence Jones and the Stampeders holding a 3-point lead. It'd be a 10-point lead, but for one botched punt.
Argonaut down in the field, which will slow things down just for a minute.
Gentlemen, tickets are now on
Jim
sale
Kardash,
for the Stampeders,
an offensive lineman. You know, Bob Obilovich said to us before that, has said to us a number of times that special teams has been a real disappointment for him this year. Some newcomers are back in the lineup. Guys like Bruce Elliott should make a difference for him. And I think he started off on the right foot blocking the punt. But they need that consistent performance all game, not just the occasional spurt of brilliance.
The October 29 home game. Tickets can be purchased at the Stampeders ticket office, friends of the Stampeders trailer, or any branch of the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce in Southern Alberta. Watch your mailbox or newspaper for more information.
Larry Kuharich needs a boost, I think, personally, and feels his team does too after what happened in Edmonton last week. The Stampeders played hard, had a chance to beat the Eskimos, but didn't. They'll try to get that spark back against the Argos as Jones wants to throw it long, and he overthrows Larry Willis.
Well, if anyone wondered whether Terrence Jones could throw the ball more than 50 or 60 yards, they found out very quickly on that play.
It'll be a 2nd and 10.
Larry Kuharich was asked prior to the game about Terrence Jones' development.
I believe his progress is excellent. He had a good first half last week. We took him out for the reason to see the formation on the sidelines, and Forrest got on a roll. We expect Terrence to play more tonight and be more productive, but I believe he's progressing on the game field, and that's the key to get him on the game field.
As opposed to the practice field where Terrence Jones has been for much of this season, he overthrows another receiver, Marshall Toner, and Maddox will come in to continue his punting adventures.
To this point, a lot of his passes have been high. They've been on the mark or in the area, but they've all been a little bit high.
You can win up to $5,000 on tonight's final score with game of the week. First and goal, the lottery for people who play.
Stampeders are doing this quickly, and the Argo punt returners were barely ready. Brazeley and Smith had to position themselves quickly. Brazeley back at his 7-yard line, down right there.
Well, we've talked about Bob Obilovich and special teams on the Argonauts. The Stampeders also have those same types of qualities in players. Ian James from the University of Calgary has been in camp all year, and he knows he's got to hustle down, stay in his lane. When he takes a man on, take him on, look what's going on, and then work to the inside where the ball is. It's nice when you can have fellas that aren't starting that can go on special teams and go full blast every time.
Well, this is where the leading rusher in the league should help. The Argos have Gil Fennerty in the backfield. Let's see if they use him to try to get better field position. And Matt Findlay is there. Fennerty, a pretty good spin at the end of that play to get a couple of yards when by rights he shouldn't.
Well, that hole was open for a second, but Calgary is closing down quickly. Findlay from the outside and Landry from the inside. Landry gets a good jump, and he's tough to block. Watch him, 39. He gets into that hole almost before Fennerty does, gets low and gets a piece of Fennerty and pushes him to the outside. where Finley finishes him off.
2nd and 8 for the Argos. Landry ready to seek and destroy, if that's what's called for. Smith dropped the ball. That's the leading receiver in the league, Darrell Smith. So it's been a rough night for Fennerty, the leading rusher, and now Smith, the top receiver, and no wonder the Argo offense isn't moving.
Well, the Renfro had the ball right on the money. Smith makes the read, comes back inside where the linebacker's dropping in front of Howard Fields. Very catchable and should have been caught. But those are the things that Bob Obilovich and that offense have been fighting all year. Those inconsistencies. All of a sudden, Renfro's throwing the ball in the right spot, no one's catching it.
The reason for the applause, if that's what it was, from Bob Obilovich, was for Gilbert Renfro's pass. He liked what the quarterback did, but the end of the play wasn't to his liking.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Harper hangs it up there. Alexander still at his feet, but probably lost a yard or two and all of that. Still, though, it's good field position for Calgary. 12:24 left in the half as the Stampeders lead by 3. The Argos take the ball where the Stampeders snapped it on the unsuccessful field goal. First down, Toronto at the 43. Swing pass, Mazzotti to one knee to make the catch. And he's down on both knees shortly thereafter.
It's frustrating for a kicker when the ball's kicked, he makes good contact, and it looks like it's going over. But what happens if it does go over the goalpost, that's considered no good, because if the post was to continue up 10, 15, 20 more yards, the ball would make contact, and therefore it wouldn't be any good.
46, 2nd and 7.
A completed pass for 3 yards. 2nd and 7 from the 46. Renfro. And the first catch by Brian Bedford is for a Toronto first down near midfield. And that's only the Argos' second first down of the game.
Bedford from the University of California at Berkeley. Good size, good speed to the outside, and the protection is key. Nice little pocket for him. Long pass for Renfro. So Bedford has to push off Hopkins to come back to that.
Actually, he was recruited by Larry Kuharich, the Calgary coach, who was at the University of California as Joe Kapp's assistant, and Bedford was recruited as a quarterback. Now a pro player and a receiver. Well, some nights you wonder why Fennerty doesn't lead the world in rushing, and other nights you wonder why he gains anything, and tonight it's one of those nights when everything is tough for Fennerty.
Well, the Calgary defense has worked, I'm sure, quite diligently at practice to take those gaps, move and take the areas away. And that's just the tenacity. The hit's been made behind the line. Landry gets through, not easily, mind you. But you can't give him those seams, and if you take them away, it makes it tough to run.
Nice protection for Renfro, but he can't run for the first down, and Landry gets up.
Back up
With a little bit of a headbutt and a point of the finger.
About 6 yards.
Oh, versus the run and the pass, the quickness is a definite advantage. Landry will go back, and the Calgary Stampeder linebackers maybe go back deeper than most. They do that because they can get up and move to the ball so quickly. Both Ford and Landry possess that ability of coming up. A little bit of a headbutt at the end, too.
Tickets also up for grabs. Vashon, family pack.
They've got to try to get the Stampeder linebackers to play them a little more honest and bring them up tighter.
Only Dave Albright of Saskatchewan had more tackles than Tank Landry entering this 11th week of the CFL season.
They got too many guys! Too many guys they got!
There are flags down for too many men on the field.
40
I don't know if you heard what we heard, the complaints about that.
Well, Howard Fields started to go on and then came off and was for sure on the field when the ball was snapped. It's Wally Bono with the headsets on just to the left of Howard Fields, defensive coach.
Well, we'll check out the penalty when we return as the Stampeders do lead by 4. The Argos is 2nd and 20 from their 25-yard line. The ball is loose. The Stampeders have got it. First down, Calgary inside the Toronto 20.
Watch the stunts up front. Watch the movement. Mitchell Price starts down, comes all the way around. Eugene Belva does a good job of grabbing the guard so he can't switch off on the stunt. And Price just rocks him. Jarvis, first game, working in a tackle, watches the ball. He's blocked well by Prunster. But when that ball comes loose, Prunster doesn't know the ball's free, and he jumps on it.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Kevin.
Here's Terrence Jones trying to turn it into 6 points. Buys himself a lot of time. He's going to continue to run. 15. Out near the 10. They say he's not out till he gets to the 7-yard line. First down, Calgary there.
Well, we're watching a quarterback who ranks sixth all-time production of offense production in the NCAA. And you can see why. Boy, he can throw the football, but he can turn a dead play into a pretty good gainer. Offensive lineman working, giving him that chance. And watch, starts going down. Make sure he's got his foot past the first down marker so they can start first and goal.
Mitchell Price made the hit on Gilbert Renfro. Jarvis recovered it. Now Terrence Jones has run for a first down. It's first and goal. Jones pitches it to Graham. He's got no help. He'll try the other way, but he only loses more yards.
That's almost asking too much. If they had turned that play into a touchdown, it would have been unbelievable. But that's what you have to do in the option. You have to get someone up in the face of the quarterback and hammer him. Don't play the pitch, play the man. If you can put the man down, then there's just one more you have to get. Fake to Petros coming out. Big hit from the outside. That's how you have to stop it.
Second and goal, but they're back near the 20. Jones forced that one. He was tempted to run. Thought that he should throw it, but it was incomplete. And here comes Mark McLaughlin trying after 2 unsuccessful field goals, unless Larry Kuharich wants a fake. But a victory now for Calgary would be just getting the ball through the uprights.
Well, we haven't seen Coach Kuharich gamble that much on the fakes like he used to in the past. That rolling the dice, take my chances. Seems to be a little bit more conservative this year.
After what's happened, as I say, they will take 3 points if they can get them. Trouble with the hole, but he makes that one good.
Field goal attempt by Mark McLaughlin is good.
And you see his reaction to the officials.
Well, I think you have to wonder. You mentioned it earlier, Dave, when you get down and you get the opportunity to punch it in the end zone, and you don't come away with touchdowns all the time. You wonder if it's going to come back and haunt you. Good job by Maddux. That ball was off the tee. He slides it on quickly and gets it at least in a position where McLaughlin can get it up and through.
How demoralizing it would have been for Calgary to go to the dressing room after dominating the first half and leading by less than a touchdown. Now it's an 8-point margin, and that's a bit more representative of what we've seen in this game, unless, of course, the Argos can narrow the margin in the last couple of minutes of the half. Renfro for Hudson, flag down. Warren Hudson down just ahead of the 40-yard line. And the penalty is going against Calgary for roughing the passer.
Big old defensive lineman chases him down. Happened to be Jarvis and wants to get to him, and he releases the ball.
Roughing the passer, Calgary 92, first down.
The product of Temple University, was with the Buffalo Bills this year in training camp. He's licking his teeth. He gets by Prunster and just pushes him down. That's a close one.
I don't know if it's late. He might have hit him too high. So the Argos are at midfield with the help of the penalty. 1:39 to go in the second quarter. Bedford makes his second catch for 3 or 4 yards.
Well,
if it hadn't been for a good play by Hopkins coming up, that might have been an even bigger play, because they got McCrary, the halfback to that side, blitzing.
Second and 6.
Give Bedford 4 yards on the reception. Second down and 6 from the Calgary 51. Hudson Hudson on the swing pass. He'll get another Argo first down.
Ball came loose, but it's not a fumble if the ground makes you fumble.
It's interesting that with McGill Fennerty's lack of success in this game, the Argos are starting to use Warren Hudson more than usual.
Well, if you get the linebackers dropping back, you might as well swing the ball to Hudson, especially if you can get him catching the ball as he's going upfield. He's a big guy. He can lay some shots on people and get you some yardage. Brunel Quinn has run into some problems. Athletic therapist Pat Clayton out to see if he can help out.
Quinn started the game as the designated import for the Stampeders, and if he goes into the game, another defensive import must leave. It had been Flint Fleming, the defensive end, who was out of there when Quinn was playing, but with Quinn shaken up, the Stampeders can return to their starting defensive unit.
Well, it's not a bad one they've got in there when you put Warnock on the outside, Belleville and Price on the inside, and Jarvis on the other defensive end. Instead, Warnock's got 10 sacks coming into this game, so you don't want him sitting on the bench too long.
But he's there now with Flint Fleming back for Brunel Quinn.
Sideline.
A minute and 15 showing on the clock as the Argos try to cut into this 8-point lead. Renfro over the middle. All sorts of complaining being done by the Argos. Eric Hoskins, who says Stampeders were on his back. No flag.
Renfro intended for Hoskins.
Well, so far this evening, as we see Hansen coming in and relaying a play to Renfro, I think he's throwing the ball better tonight than he has in quite a while. No, they haven't all been caught, and that's not his fault, but I think at least he's on the money.
Second down, Argos from the Calgary 44. You might hear Tank Landry saying in so many words that the catch wasn't made, but it is a first down.
First down.
Still more than a minute to go. Bedford turning one way and then the other. That would have been a very tough catch, but he gave it his best.
Bedford, the intended receiver.
Almost, like you said, a great job of adjustment, good control of his body. Good size for an outside receiver, 6'3", close to 6'4", 205 pounds. A lot of people think he's better suited to the slot back spot, but when injury calls, sometimes it doesn't matter where you're supposed to play.
You got time.
And the reason for the time is an injury to Eugene Belleville. That'll bring Warnock into the game. Well, the Argos have 7 points because of their defense. Here's what the offense has done. Fumbled it the first time they had it, then punted 5 times in a row, and then fumbled it again. And on this drive, they hope to get some points.
Well, you can see why the coaching staff of the Argos can be frustrated. They've had that to deal with all year.
Argos are second down. They're in field goal range now. They'd like to keep the drive going and keep the football low. Renfro is down. The whistle ended the play before the fumble. Stampeders think they have it, but the Argos will get a chance to kick.
Well, I don't know what more the Stampeders can do. Fleming gets that sack from the backside. The protection was outstanding. The pocket was a little bit moved to the left. But that Calgary secondary, and I have to include the linebackers now, they're dropped back and doing a heck of a job of taking away the passing game. See Fleming to the right side. He's going to come all the way around Schultz. Now that's great time. You can't ask for anything more than that. An offensive lineman can only block those guys for so long.
3 yards. Third down, 13 to go.
Lance Chomick, all sorts of problems earlier in the season. Things have been better lately for him as he tries a 42-yard field goal. Straight and true, and the Argos are into double figures and within 5, and very fortunate to be that close.
Glenn Harper, who's just joined the team as a punter, found out this evening that he was going to be holding for Chomick. Usually it was backup quarterback to do the holding. Mazzotti's done a little bit this year. Good job. Chomick had all the faith in the world, and talking to him about him before the game, said he held for me twice yesterday, spins the ball, gets it on the tee perfectly. Says if he holds, I'm in good shape.
Come on, get the sack!
Goes outside. That's
Get the sack!
perhaps his best pass of the game. Willis standing there. The Argos, of course, a little soft in defense with only 23 seconds left. But that's the exact play that the Stampeders should be calling in that situation. Good safe gain and out of bounds to stop the clock. 23 seconds to go. Stamps at their 49. Over the middle of Petros, and he knew he was going to be hit if and when he caught it.
Well, Holmes comes up and makes the hit. They're dropping, as you said, a little bit deeper, trying to keep things in front of them. Holmes is going to drop dead center. You can watch him. 58 turns. He moves. He sees Petros coming up and looking for that seam, so he goes to that side.
Here we are again. The Stampeders give it to Graham, and he almost had the sidelines. He was forced to go out. 10 seconds left. They've got time to run another play and then kick a field goal.
But being very careful what the play is and where, if in fact they throw the football, where he's going to throw it. Think about last week in Edmonton near the half where they had a chance possibly to come away with some points. And Jones let an errant pass go and was picked off.
With the snap of the ball, the clock will move from 10 seconds. Jones looking. He is taking up a little too much time. Incomplete with 4 seconds left. And now it'll be Mark McLaughlin with another long field goal attempt.
Well, whether he wanted to or not, throwing the ball on the ground is not that bad of an idea with only 4 seconds left.
Third down.
If it's a reception, the receiver might have just eaten up that 4 seconds and not have had a chance to get any point.
One of the 2 unsuccessful McLaughlin field goals was a 50-yard attempt. This one comes from 49. And this one is good.
49-yard field goal attempt.
And that ends the first half. The Stampeders restoring their 8-point lead. It is Calgary 18 and the Argos 10. In Calgary, the Stampeders have the lead over the Toronto Argos by 8 points at halftime, and the only reason the Argos are in the game is their touchdown, which came on a block punt. Gerald Bayless neatly getting it off the foot of Brent Maddich, not so neatly trying to pick it up, but Reggie Pleasant was there ahead of the Calgary punter, and that's 70% of the Argos scoring in this game. The Argos have 16 yards rushing from Gil Fennerty, nothing from Darryl Smith, and yet they're still in the game. What's Calgary doing right to shut off 2 of the top individual offensive players in this league?
Well, I think what they're doing is showing Toronto some schemes, maybe defensively, that are making them hold the ball a little bit longer, good coverage downfield, and they're getting to the football very quickly. All the people that are involved around the football, like Landry, and the other linebackers are going there quickly. You know, we're so used to middle linebackers making the big hits. It's not always as fancy as a good solid hit like that. Sometimes you just get in the way. You're around the football. Can't always be pretty. This time he throws his back. Landry gets in the way of Fennerty. That's the difference of about 6 or 7 more yards for Fennerty. Another situation. Good move to get inside. He doesn't make the initial tackle, but he's around the ball, and they have to eliminate some of those people around the ball to break a big one, whether it be a pass to Smith or a run by Fennerty.
Well, the way these teams have played offensively this season, these are the sort of statistics you'd expect. The Argos 69 net yards. The Stampeders have about twice that many, and primarily because the Stamps have been able to run the ball. Lorenzo Graham has done better than Gil Fennerty. Penalties have hurt especially the Argonauts. So it's an 8-point Calgary lead at the half, and the Stampeders should be up by more.
And I'm sure Toronto is saying to themselves, look, there's little things we can change. We'll adjust to a couple of things. Let's execute. We're not far behind. We're still in this football game, and Terrence Jones wants to start putting those drives that we've seen him do go further past the 20-yard line. Let's not be satisfied with kicking field goals. Let's get some majors.
Stampeders trying to break temporarily at least a second-place tie in the West. They're currently even with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who host Edmonton on Sunday. The Argos trying to get closer to the two teams ahead of them in the East. Winnipeg and Hamilton tied for first place right now. The Argos looking their fourth straight loss in the face unless they get better or unless they block a few more punts.
Well, I'm sure the players have said to themselves, even if it's just inwardly, look, we were crummy in the first half and we're only 8 points down. We're still in this football game. If we can put it together for 30 minutes, we can come away with a victory. And that's up to Larry Kaharich's defense to continue playing that tough, ruthless, rugged style and keep attacking that Toronto offense.
McLaughlin's kickoff. Eric Hoskins at the other end. Can't avoid the downfield tackle of David McCrary, who was a standout in Edmonton as the Stampeders battled the Eskimos, but lost by 11. McCrary, one of the stars of that game. Gilbert Renfro will try to go against McCrary in the Calgary defense. And there's the numbers for Renfro in the first half. I suppose you could say that he completed more than 50% of his passes if you want to pat him on the back. And I suppose you could say that some of the 5 incompletions weren't his fault.
No, there are some drop balls as Ken Ford is down.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to award software.
Once again, Pat Clayton on the left there, taking a close look. You know, the word rhythm is used a number of times, and primarily for offense and focusing on the quarterback, but it's important. He has to get a good, solid feeling of what's going on. Execution, and that rhythm will build confidence. And I think if that starts to happen for Gilbert Renfro in the second half, we'll see a different offense.
Well, the best example of bad rhythm for the Argos was the first play they ran. Renfro and Fennerty couldn't even execute a simple handoff. Fennerty, as a pass receiver, does better than as a rusher.
Get Fenner to the outside. He's the type of guy that can make one man miss, and if he does do that, as he's done many times before, he gets us some first yardage or first downs, and that's what puts drives together.
And this is common in a game in which Fennerty has trouble running the ball. The Argos usually in the second half come out and try to get him the ball another way. He got 8, 2nd and 2. Fennerty for the first down.
That is Gil Fennerty, the ball carrier.
Bob Obilovich made a very good point in our meeting today, Dave, that he said when you talk about Fennerty, you have to also think about Warren Hudson. Not only his blocking ability, but he will lead you to Fennerty. Where he goes, usually Fennerty's going to fall on a running play. And Obilovich said they wanted to try to break some of those keys this evening. Move Hudson one way and get Fennerty going the other way, and we have yet to see that.
The purchase of Vashon family pack cakes. It is the first down.
Well, the 17th and 18th yards for Fennerty did get the Argos a first down as they are at their 46-yard line. Fennerty through the air, Fennerty along the ground. The Argos move the yardsticks. Darrell Smith didn't have a catch in the first half. He has one in the second half.
And over the middle where it can get very crowded, with Calgary bringing only 4 people, that means they get an opportunity to drop back in that zone. It's a little bit tougher to find the seams. Coming out of the backfield, looks like an eye back, a little bit of motion, and then hits the line of scrimmage on a bit of a glide, gives them an advantage, comes in beside of behind the linebacker and then slows down.
Big game last week. Smith is a long way to go to match those numbers. Bennerty right up the middle.
Renfro hands off to Bennerty.
I think if the Calgary defense can continue to get pressure, rushing only their front four, it'll make it tough on Gilbert Renfro to complete downfield. You got Landry dropping deep in the middle. You got Ford and Finlay on the outside, and then you got the 5 defensive backs. So it's tougher to find seams in that kind of coverage.
2nd and 8. Argos at the Calgary 44. Flag down. Renfro outside. Bedford the catch. Struggles for the first down. He had it anyway with the catch, but the penalty may wipe it out.
Renfro pass complete to Brian Bedford. Ron Hopkins on the tackle. There is a flag down.
And does.
Well, it's one thing to take a penalty. It's another thing to just stop yourself in your tracks when you're starting to move the football.
Procedure, Toronto 67, 2nd down repeated.
Chris Schultz, left tackle. You can just see him in the screen, his left foot.
Down, 13 yards to go.
There, just starts to come out of his stance a bit. And that little bit was enough.
Stampeders blitz. And where's the ball? It's on the ground. Smith had a shot at it. So did the Stampeders. It is incomplete.
Junior Thurman and Darcy Kopp back to knock it down.
John Heldon, defensive coach, looks good enough to play. Still probably one of the strongest members on the Calgary Stampeders. Still lifts weights religiously with Leo Blanchard, who plays offensive tackle.
Sunday, September 24th, game time 2 o'clock. And don't forget the Strong Bowl, the Dinosaurs in the University of Alberta on Saturday the 23rd.
Harper very high, but again, not very deep, and another no-yards penalty. Now, Glenn Harper was trying out with the San Francisco 49ers, and those are good NFL punts. Perfect. But not very good in this league. Glenn Harper talks about the football being different league to league.
I believe it does. I think, personally, you know, with the experience that I just came off of, I found the NFL ball was a lot easier. Definitely kicking into winds was a lot easier. In fact, it was even the problem you have with an NFL ball is harder to kick with the wind. It's hard to get the ball turned over. And it's exact opposite with the CFL ball. But I was hitting them pretty good yesterday. I shouldn't be too worried about today.
Well, Jones hands off to Tim Petros. Tony Visco.
Well, no matter the size of the ball in this league, you want to kick it farther than Harper has been able to kick it. And it's almost too high in the CFL because those tacklers are downfield under it. And they almost can't avoid the no-yards penalties that have been occurring. Lorenzo Graham to the 41. That's a Calgary first down.
Jones pitches back to Lorenzo Graham.
Toronto defense getting to the outside and forcing Graham back in. But they need that pursuit from the backside if they are going to take that outside away from him. Don Mullen comes up quickly and does exactly that. But you need that pursuit to limit the game.
Appear to have it. They certainly do, although they're not allowed to run with it. The whistle stops the play. A turnover. Lorenzo Graham fumbling. The Argonauts have the ball. Bruce Holmes, the middle linebacker, recovered the fumble. The Stampeders had all sorts of problems, losing fumbles, 6 of them 2 games back against Edmonton. They cured that in the rematch against the Eskimos. Didn't fumble at all, but now another one, and let's find out how costly it might be. Bedford is all tied up with the defender, Ron Hopkins, and the flag has to come down.
Intended for Bedford.
I don't think there's any question there. Hopkins had a pretty good hold on him. I don't know what part of the equipment he had, but he had all of it.
Forward passing difference. Calgary number 15, first down.
I think as a defensive back, though, if you felt you're going to be beaten for a touchdown, you better hook onto the guy because it's a better play to get the penalty and move it closer than give up 7.
That's at the 13-yard line now. It's in the end zone otherwise, if in fact Renfro and Bedford would have hooked up. Renfro's going to run up the middle, 5-yard line, sneaking just inside it perhaps, and that's within a couple of yards of an Argo first down.
Design quarterback draw.
45 blocks. Close to 9 yards.
Well, we know the play, but we don't know what to do about it. 45 blast. I almost think it's going to be Hudson going over the left side. Fender's going to get the ball.
Maybe a little less than 2 yards needed. Fenderty doesn't get it. Matt Findlay is right there to meet him. And on third down, Bob Obilovich has a decision to make.
One blast option.
Good play by Finley. Comes across the line of scrimmage. Doesn't go deep in the backfield. Comes straight down the line. Finley played well at middle when Bernie Morrison was hurt last year for the Stampeders. He's tough on the outside.
The Argos need a full yard on third down. Renfro pitches it, and Hansen will score. He'll walk in, and that's the option that you heard sent in from the Argo coaches for a Toronto touchdown.
Exactly the same play to the other side, only this time the quarterback's going to feather the ball in. Right there, pull it back on your hip. You got Hansen coming from the slot back from the other side, pitched perfectly as far as timing goes, and Hansen keeps that relationship of about 3.5, 4 yards to the right and a yard behind.
Well, the Argos are within 2 with that Ryan Hansen touchdown. Bob Skemp is the injured Toronto player, which will delay the convert. And is it a 1-point or a 2-point convert attempt? Looks as though they might go for 2, Neil.
This offensive line, they're all going to reach to the right side, try to pick someone off. You can see everybody goes and closes in on that fake to Fenderty, and a natural guess. Good job of faking the ball by Renfro and by Fenderty.
Toronto, bringing it back.
How quickly a lead can disappear, can it? When offensively Calgary was so dominant in the first half.
Well, 2 plays are going through Larry Kuharich's mind: the block punt and Lorenzo Graham's fumble. The Argos have made the most of both of them. The Argos last week against Saskatchewan intercepted 5 passes, picked up 3 fumbles, still couldn't score more than 24 points and couldn't win, but maybe this will be different. Maybe the Argos will use every break they get, even though they don't get too many.
Well, I'd like to see a breakdown of percentages of good football teams that can get the ball in plus territory, in other words, inside the 40-yard line on a turnover, and turn it into points, be it a field goal or a touchdown.
Here's the 2-point convert, which, if successful, would tie the game. And let's remember that the ball is live if it's fumbled or intercepted. No good. Argos tried for 2, tried for Fenderty, and didn't make it, and so the Stampeders continue to lead by those 2 points. Ryan Hansen scored the touchdown. The Argos did not add the convert. The Argo Spirits lifted by the first scoring play of the second half. Comics kickoff to Andre Alexander. He's dangerous and swings outside. Ed Berry manages to collar him at the 50-yard line.
Alexander giving the Stampeders good field position and almost busting it for a big one. Ripping those shoulder pads strap undone.
At the 50-yard line, a run back is
Terrence Jones remains as the Calgary quarterback. The backup is Tom Porras with ex-Argo Danny Barrett out of uniform again tonight. Jones scored the first Calgary touchdown. Stampeders haven't added one since. Graham. Holmes is right there behind the line of scrimmage to meet him, and Graham might have got a yard.
Holmes, nice job of getting off the block, going to the outside and making him, Graham, turn up inside and then shedding that blocker and falling back in. You know, the Argos' game plan on defense was to try to get Terrence Jones pressure early and force him to throw the ball into coverage. Until if they could do that, they could pick some off.
Well, there's no doubt the Stampeders' success has been along the ground and not through the air. Jones running and throwing too high for Brock Smith. It's a pass offense that isn't working for the Stampeders, and as a result, Brent Maddich and the punting team comes in, and the Argos have a little something going now.
Well, they seem to have that momentum flip back to their side, and what an offense doesn't want to do is get into the rhythm, a bad rhythm, mind you, of getting 2 plays or 3 plays in and then getting back out.
Darrell Smith and Carl Brazeley are deep for the Argos. Maddich had 1 block for a touchdown earlier in the game, back in the first quarter. The Argos rushed 10 with 2 returners. Brazeley waits for it just ahead of his 20-yard line. Goes down at the 25. Terrence Jones is up, and he's mad.
And watch the action on the left leg. He'll go back. Watch where the impact is, right there. The toes planted down, pushed back almost like a hyperextension. It's good to see him walk off, though.
As the fourth quarter begins, Jones is on the sidelines, and Tom Porras is in for his first play. The Argos are all over the ball carrier, Tim Petros.
Tom Porras into the game at quarterback.
Well, Tom Porras' style of quarterback likes to throw the ball quickly. The 3- and 5-step drops that they use so effectively in Hamilton and is used by Mike Kerrigan now in Hamilton. I think he feels most comfortable, and he's the strongest throwing the football from that position.
He'll be throwing it now as we look at the treatment for Terrence Jones. 2nd and 12, Stampeders from their 35. Porras down the middle. Alexander goes up in the air, and when he jumps, it doesn't necessarily mean he goes very far up, but Alexander made the catch at the Argo 50.
Porras straight back and get a read quickly now. He's going to snap his wrist and get that ball downfield. He needs that fast delivery. He's got the pocket for him around. See him nice and strong on his feet. If he can throw from that, if they can give him that protection and he can stand there, he's a much better quarterback than when he tries to sprint out and throw the football.
Happy with the completion, maybe not it being hit high by Glenn Kulka. Petros with room to the 40 and the 35, first down Calgary.
What a good run by Petros. Reading he's going to take the handoff to the right side, but he makes a cut back behind the center. Froney and Palumbo are doing a great job coming off the football and getting in front of somebody. Watch this. He's going to take it to the right, comes backside. Everyone blocks down. Hallman comes up and just a little bit too far. And he's going to try to run that ball as tight to the blocks as he can, and that's what he does.
Stampeders lead by 9 and look to increase it. First down from the Argo 35. On a bounce. The ball is grabbed by Marshall Toner, but unless they change the rule, that doesn't count.
Ice on the leg. You can see the knee pad pushed up, so it's over the top of the knee and part of the shin.
Well, it's been an entire season of injuries for Calgary quarterbacks, starting with Eric Kramer, if you can remember that far back to training camp. Porras is the healthiest one right now, and the most effective. Graham should have had a catch, knows it. Lorenzo Graham, as effective as he's been, has fumbled once and just dropped a touchdown pass from Tom Porras.
Well, Porras puts the ball in the right spot over the outside shoulder Calgary gets what they want with a linebacker covering a back. A rare situation. Good call against the right coverage. It's the wrong catch.
42-yard field goal from Mark McLaughlin. He's made 3. And now 4. Stampeders increase their lead to 28-16. Terrence Jones will continue to watch as Gilbert Renfro tries to move the Argos from the Toronto 35. Renfro still with the ball. And down he goes in the arms of Eugene Beliveau.
Well, Calgary's defense comes up big again. The report on Terrence Jones, as we saw him a minute ago on the sidelines, was a hyperextended knee. And he won't be back, as Renfro plenty of time has got an alignment out in front of him. But just great job by Ford closing. Drops to that flat to the wide side. Beliveau comes in from the backside. Good pursuit.
The loss was 4. This is second down. Bang again. Ball is loose after the whistle.
Well, when we talked to Larry Kaharich, and he spoke about Jarvis a couple of weeks ago when he was still in the Buffalo Bills training camp. He said, what does he do best? He says he's a pass rusher. See how he uses his hands to keep Schultz off of him, not allow Chris Schultz to get his hands out on him. He's got that separation, and obviously the quickness he gets around to the outside. Darn close to a sack.
Well, I guess Renfro threw it. Incomplete. Third down. That's Harper's best punt. See what Alexander does with it. Flag down. Alexander down at the 45.
44 yards down the post by Harper. 14 yards in the run back.
That's Reg Berry, not to be confused with Ed Berry. They're both Argo defensive backs.
Hanson on the tackle.
Hank Landry, not to be confused with anybody.
He's tied up with Vernell Quinn. A little brawl took place. Referees are always calm and cool.
He's been taking license plate numbers. And now we'll find out about the penalty. The original one was against Calgary on the punt return, and Jacques Decarie has not seen fit to throw any other flags. Let's find out if anybody else has.
There were a couple of right hooks thrown there, and I don't know if anybody saw it, though.
Yep, they called roughing against Calgary. We'll hope to find out against whom the roughing penalty was called.
Illegal block, Calgary 45. Unnecessary roughness, Calgary 45. First down.
You know, Quinn had himself a heck of a play, didn't he?
After the penalties against the Stampeders,
Stampeders back to their 15-yard line. First down, and it is still Tom Porras, of course, at quarterback. Over the middle, and Larry Willis has himself a first down at the 30.
Perfect timing. Willis and Porras hooking up. Willis just simply coming down and running what might be called a quick post or a slant. Straight back. He's got to get it in between two defenders. See the linebacker Visco dropping outside of him. Well executed. Tell you, when Willis gets the ball running full speed, that can be scary.
Strength is to the left where Larry Willis lines up. Stampeders will run that way with Graham to to the 37.
Morris hands off to Lorenzo Graham. Brought down by Holmes after a gain of about 7.
We've seen the Stampeders show some good diversity. Running play, they're going to hit inside. Kuckel's taken on by Fairbanks. Kuckel's trying to get up and read, get in front of that offensive man and be able to throw him. Fairbanks just had him too well tied up.
Second down, about 3 yards to go. Morris looking for the short pass. Smith reaches out and makes the catch with Reggie Pleasant right on him. It's another Calgary first down. Red Berry is involved again with Marshall Toner as Larry Kuharich talks to the men above and tries to design more plays like this.
Nice soft hands, has to reach out, adjust on the throw after he makes him plant, and he's probably expecting it to come into his belly.
Clock continues to move, 9 minutes left. Forrest downfield, and Willis just couldn't get to it. Pretty good idea, and a better thrown ball had Larry Willis there.
Right now, let you know, you get a dead ball foul, and you're going to get a big fine. And I'll make sure that you guys know what our history is. Let's go. No dead ball foul.
Well, that's Wally Bono, defensive coach, making a point in that huddle. No more slaps on the wrist.
Second and 10 Stampeders from their 47. Again, over the middle goes Tom Porras for another Calgary first down. Marshall Toner with a reception inside the Argo 45.
And once again, Stampeder slow getting up. Marshall Toner. Watch how close this ball is thrown to Tony Visco. Now he's going to be on the right side of the screen. Watch him lean right there. He's dropped to that zone. Middle linebacker Holmes has gone to the middle, and Visco has to respond to when the ball's delivered. And just perfect job of Toner going by and behind that coverage, and Porras putting the ball in the right spot. That's frustrating for a linebacker, being around the ball and just knowing you can touch it and knock it down. And you come up short.
Following this game, an attempt will be made to select the Foster's most valuable player.
You just won a dinner entree for 2, compliments of the trading lot. It's 14461. You just won a dinner entree for 2, compliments of the trading lot.
The Stampeders know that if they can put the ball in the end zone, they've got this game locked up. They might have it in their possession anyway with a 12-point lead, 8.5 minutes left. But a touchdown here, I think, would seal the Argos' doom.
I think you're right. I think the Stampeders, too, going into this game, gambling a bit, only having dressed one backup receiver, and Jay Christensen, number 88, who will come in now at slot. Primarily, most of their extra players are on defense.
Tom Porras is the man who tries to guide the Stampeders to a touchdown. Jay Christensen in the game. Porras to Alexander, who chose to leave his feet to make sure of the catch.
The glowworm, Alexander. Down at the 37-yard line, Don Bone.
Well, you can get yourself plays like that on the first down.
How you doing? Come on, catch it. Yo, Sky Dome, here we come, baby.
Again, thinking ahead to next week. Second and 3. Petros, he's got 3 yards and more. Breaking tackles to the 25. And with those plays, the clock continues to move.
And at this point, taking absolutely nothing away from Petros and the tough running, Richard Brothers to the outside safety spot. He would normally be filling on this run, but they've got him up to the wide side of the field and are going to blitz him. And now he becomes a chaser. And this Argonaut defense is looking a little bit tired. So I think the success in the running game is taking its toll.
Well, this is what ball control means. Run the clock and run the defense down. Stamps by 12. Glenn Coca looks on. The Argos don't need defense now. They need points. And I'd say to score points, they need the ball, but that's not necessarily an equation either. Porras hands it to Graham. We've seen this play before. Lorenzo to the 15-yard line. Another Calgary first down. Another running play. Clock moves. And that defense of the Argos continues to pick itself up and wonder how long this continues.
You know, the offensive line of the Stampeders are having some fun. If they can start teeing off and getting the three-point stance and driving defensive people back, that's what they like doing best. And being able to mix up the offense as Calgary has done tonight and kept Toronto a little bit back in their heels.
Everything the way the Stampeders would want it. They're taking time, moving the ball. Now what they have to do is score. And that's it. Touchdown, Larry Willis.
Lead Willis back to the corner. Straight drop, good pocket. Looks to the right first, and then he throws it away from the coverage so Willis can adjust, but not too much closer to Reggie Pleasant, who was playing underneath.
Pass wobbled. It didn't have to be perfect. That's how wide open Willis was. McLaughlin adds the point. 35-16, and even that score flatters the Argos. Darrell Smith returns Mark McLaughlin's kickoff. The Argos will take the ball, and we wonder about their quarterback, whether they would try Bobby McAllister or stick with Gilbert Renfro.
Well, the team you expected to see a lot of yardage from, the Argonauts with Finnerty, has been shined another way. Lorenzo Graham, who was the backup to Finnerty last year, has taken the headline.
Renfro remains as the Argo quarterback. And completes one to Eric Hoskins in Calgary territory at the 47.
Good goes pass complete to Hoskins. On the pickup.
It's a great feeling to be able to come into a game when you know you're the backup quarterback and put a long drive together, not only take down the clock, but put some points on the board.
Brian Bedford, the newcomer from the University of California, is the intended receiver.
Calgary continues to bring only 4. They've changed things up a bit as the evening has gone on, but primarily the pressure you see there has been ongoing and is by the front 4, Warnock, Belleville, Price, Jarvis, and Fleming. Any of those 4 have done a pretty darn good job, both against the pass and the run.
And the way the Argos lost last week, I guess there's no thought in their minds that this game is over. If they can lose one like that, maybe they can win one like that, but otherwise, I thought we might see Bobby McAllister in the game as quarterback. Finnerty is hit. Inbounds, which pleases the Stampeders. Under 5 minutes to go now.
About 5. Finley and Hopkins on the tackle. It'll be third down.
Plays coming in from the sidelines, probably being passed down from upstairs in the spotter's booth.
You're in, Ryan.
Third down, and the Argos go for it. No surprise there. Smith complains about being held up. No flag comes down. The ball turns over to Calgary, and Bob Vilovich says, forget the arguments. Let's send the defense on.
Redford wanted that hot pattern inside, and Smith had to get away from Finley, who pushed him inside, and McCrary at that halfback spot is pretty well cluttered.
Well, a touchdown pass is rare when these teams take the field, especially against each other, but Tom Porras has thrown one to Larry Willis.
Don Moen leaving. Play being stopped because he went down. He's replaced by Bruce Elliott, 35, on that outside linebacker spot.
Larry Kuhartz wondered how his team would come out of the Edmonton series. Just fine, thanks, but this victory, Lorenzo Graham trying to get to the 50-yard line. This will be a clean sweep for the Stampeders here at McMahon Stadium against Eastern teams. They've beaten Hamilton and Winnipeg and Ottawa and now Toronto in this stadium this season.
Well, that fares pretty well for them, and I think one of the reasons they've played well and improved their players, their offensive line. You're looking at 3 center, 2 guards, the Italian connection, Ferroni, Palumbo, and Spallettini. Make all their calls in Italian so no one can understand.
Graham close to the 40, another big gain for him as he continues to build his margin in a head-to-head battle with Gil Finnerty.
I'll tell you, talking about ripping through holes, the offensive lineman just teeing off, blocking down on the nose. They've sealed that off. 66. Ferroni comes off on the middle linebacker. Graham's through that gap quickly, 6-7 yards before anyone's even close to him.
Porras trying to hook up with Brock Smith, and Reggie Pleasant prevents it.
A little bit late on the pass, going to the short side of the field.
2nd and 10.
Bobby McAllister. If Toronto gets the ball back, and they should be, 2 minutes, 48 seconds left, he'll get a chance to take over where this man left off, Gilbert Renfro.
Tom Porras has done a nice relief job for the Stampeders, mopping up, you might call it, but he has put the ball in the end zone to basically take the heat off, if there was any, on the Stampeders, and he continues to move the ball club with Brock Smith taking it inside the 20.
Porras going again back to the short side of the field where there is only Brock Smith. Tried to get him on out the last time. This time gets him on a quick slant. Smith's got the position inside the 1 halfback, Reggie Pleasant. All Porras has to do is lead him. Good tight coverage, but it's tough to knock that ball down and make the play.
2.5 minutes left. The Stampeders already have 35 points. And there's what Porras has done since replacing the injured Terrence Jones. Raw play, Petros. Flag down. This play might come back as Petros is in the end zone, holding against Calgary.
Right down on the play, the initial indication against Calgary.
Holding Calgary 64, 1st down midfield.
Craig Watson in at left guard, replacing Dan Ferroni, who went out about 2 or 3 plays ago. That's still a heck of a run. Penalty or no penalty.
From there.
Danny Barrett's enjoying this almost as much as if he were part of it. In uniform, I mean.
I think he's been an important part on the sidelines, helping direct what plays are called.
From the 28, the Stampeders 1st down again. Porras on the run. Willis open at the sidelines, out inside the 15.
Well, Willis runs down, lazy, and then out. Porras is sprinting. They've got that corner. Look, there's no one in Porras' face. Harding has come from the inside and around. Lots of time. Watch this. Push him down, push hard, and then come back. There you go. Back 3 or 4 yards. Good execution.
The Argos have been beaten and beaten up in this game. And only because of a couple of Calgary turnovers were the Argos ever really in it. Porras almost threw an interception. Shakes his head and wonders about that. So does Reggie Pleasant.
Got it down by Reggie Pleasant. That makes it third down, Stampeders. 6 yards to go.
Mark McLaughlin has made 4 field goals. Tries for 5. He thinks he made the other 2, actually. If you talk to him following the game, he disputed both calls. What does he think about this one? He's not going to argue this one.
21-yard field goal attempt by Mark McLaughlin is no good.
So he's 4 of 7, as if it matters. It's another single point and a 20-point Calgary lead.
No, it doesn't matter now, but I'm sure he's thinking it could have mattered. And those should be automatic. Nice smooth approach. Looked like the placement was good, but as soon as he hit it, he knew he yanked it.
Well, for 2 minutes and 2 seconds, or however long the Argos have the ball within that time, Bobby McAllister will be the Toronto quarterback. Hanson, the ball carrier. It's a disaster scene that Bob Obilovich surveys, and when he gets the injury report, he might feel worse. He's got to go back home a week from tomorrow and play this same Calgary team.
For Toronto. A couple of yards up to the 37-yard line.
That basically has been his demeanor the whole game. He hasn't been pleased by anything he's seen.
Second and 8.
I can't say that I blame him. I'm surprised he's kept his cool as well as he has.
McAllister did a nice job to pick out Darryl Smith at midfield.
And Smith did a nice job of evading Landry, who came darn close to ripping his head off.
For Toronto, completes his first pass to Darryl Smith, 18 yards to the first down.
McAllister gets this one away at the last minute.
McAllister's pass.
They're going to rule him down, are they?
Well, it looked similar to a play in the third quarter where Renfro looked like he was going down and was able to get the ball, and I think he's just going to, they'll consider that an incomplete pass.
There is a penalty against the Stampeders.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary 41, first down.
McLaughlin having that right knee looked at. You know it wasn't from contact. That'd be something he did when he kicked the football.
As if the missed attempt wasn't bad enough. Got to get up sore. Catch by Gil Fennerty downfield for a first down, a minute 17 to go.
Gil Fennerty.
One thing that impresses me is Calgary is continuing to just rock people when they catch the football. Late in the football game, they're still enjoying going after people. And that attitude's infectious. If they can keep that going, they'll be tough this year, or for the rest of it.
McAllister incomplete. Jim Yock in the game, and he broke that one up, the son of former Winnipeg coach Ray Yock.
Well, they had Darcy Kopp at that safety spot earlier in the game, replacing Greg Peterson, who broke his thumb last week. And now Yock's getting a chance. Good opportunity for some young players who may down the stretch have to go into tough situations and get some experience.
1:07 to go. The Argos try to salvage something from a bad loss. Hudson near the 10-yard line. That's close to a first down. 1:02 to go.
Warren Hudson on the carry. Ian James on the tackle.
Clock moving under a minute. It is a first down for the Argos. McAllister to the end zone for Smith. Incomplete. McAllister thought the ball was caught.
Well, he put it in the right spot to be caught.
Howard Field back defensively.
Pay attention to what you're doing.
Well, you have to wonder if it's a lack of concentration, that down the stretch they go in and out and their focus isn't real tight. I'm sure Bob Obilovich and the rest of the coaching staff would like to know a reason, and would probably hope it was only one, or wished it was only one, but it's not.
How many times can you shake your head? McAllister going to try to get it in himself. After he recovers the ball, it'll be third down.
Scatters it himself down about the 8-yard line. Matt Finley on the tackle. It's third down, about 5 yards to go.
Third and about 5, and the Argos will be close to a first down, but I think they'll come up short.
Well, Hanson had his hands full as he was going through. He met up with Kent Warnock. You might as well try to run through a wall if you hit him straight on.
Short of a first down.
The mouth gets a little dry on a night like this.
Stampeders take over on down.
Well, you have to get past the point of frustration. I don't know what it is past there. Only coaches understand it.
You had 4 yards? You had 4 yards to go? Third down.
Well, you can disagree with the call your quarterback made if you get past the point of frustration as the Stampeders
That's the Calgary Stampeders, and they're